Hello again, it's King Philidor with another example from the checks and captures process that we've been learning about. This game is between me and John Roush. John Roush, five-time West Virginia state champion. We're playing in the tournament. Got five moves left to be made, and only got 3 minutes. John plays here. I guess anticipating that I was going to play here, trying to get the check in so that he can just take and do that. And another time trouble blunder, just goes ahead and makes somebody die. But our checks and captures have to reign supreme. We got one check, but it's devastating. If we could get a check in here, then the king can't move over here because just moving the bishop's mate. Yeah, I like that too. All right, so let's look at our captures, and here's where we just learned where everybody can and cannot go. The queen has a capture, but I don't like that one. The rook has a capture. We're going to come back to that one. Rook has a capture here. Rook comes up. Bishop takes, queen takes, and nothing's been left awry. So, and it doesn't matter how you change the order here. So, when you look at a combination, or when you're even looking at a game, you should go through the bold print first, and then come back and look at the variations. So let's look at what happened in the game to a point, and then we'll start over with the variations. John took here. Then we came up with the check. Oh boy. That's working now. Check again. Went up here. Check again. And he went up here. Now this is the time control. The moves have been made to meet the time control. Anytime you meet a time control and you've been in time trouble, or even if you haven't, you should get up, go wash your face, splash some water in your face or whatever, and make your brain acknowledge the new amount of time that you have left to finish the game. You know, I made my next move a little hastily, and I was not making the best move. I know you're just like, this wins a queen, but that still was not the best move. So, rook comes here, king takes, knight to f6. We're not afraid of the trying to get the queen back simply because we'll still be up a piece. So it'd still be just losing. So we took in, decided to go here, and he went up here. Whoops, excuse me. Take that back real quick. After we played here, rook takes pawn. Thank you. Then we played here. I'll slow down a second so you can catch up to me. Hey, every once in a while somebody's going to make a mistake. Stop it already. Okay, so after that, he went here. Check. Goes back. Knight here. Comes over here. And here he makes a mistake. Queen comes over, and now that the queen's back in the game, no amount of trying to stop things from happening is going to get him back into what's going on. Party's over, folks. Party's over. It just doesn't matter. Yeah, we can take and walk everything down from here. So, all right. So let's take and go back a bit to the beginning, and we're going to look at some of the things that could have happened differently. And this is where the quote-unquote complications come in. Looking at checks and captures is going to be complicated, but it's not the looking at them that's complicated. It's the deciding what to do once you've found them that's complicated. Rook up, rook back, pawn, pawn, knight, king, bishop, pawn, pawn, rook, queen, and bishop. We're back to normal here? Yes, we're back to normal. Okay, so after rook takes, one of my expert friends said, hey man, you gotta walk away from that and just drop the piece. Just play queen takes pawn so that the knight will be able to take and get in here. If there's rook takes rook, rook takes rook, you know, there's devastation waiting to happen with queen to e8 and that kind of stuff like that. So you can pick up a pawn and maybe start trying to take and get your pieces out, but that's what he recommended. No matter how many times we played it out, the white still lost. Now when the bishop comes up, the best move obviously is not to take. The best move would have been to just bring the rook back. After bishop takes, then knight takes, then pawn takes, then queen takes, and the queen comes over here, and all the protection that we need and getting the queen back into where she needs to be to help out in the situation over there on the other side of the board is taking place. And we're also taking and bringing threats of playing queen to e3, which keeps the queen pinned down for a while and helps us consolidate our position. So he didn't opt for that either, though. He opted for takes. Even after he takes, and then we get the check in, this isn't the best move. We should have took it. You should have took a play rook to knight to c1. After the king comes up, the knight comes up. The only real way to deal with this is, you know, to take and play the bishop down. But after bishop comes down and queen comes back and rook comes over, we don't take the rook, we check. King goes to e3, knight takes. Better get it while you can get it. And then we play knight to d5. Then we play king to d2, rook to b1, b3, and after he plays b3, let's play e4. He comes over here threatening the pawn. We can't take here because the pawn will just go scoot scoot and get a queen. See, once the knight gets here, there's no way for it to be able to reach here. I'll play knight here, he plays up. How am I going to get to the pawn? Can't get to it. So, but that'll go ahead and put him out of his misery. So he's almost obliged to play rook takes, and then we'll just go ahead and play knight takes at b6, and the world's wonderful. So, and he'll be down 2 pieces. All right. So let's go back to our position again. And we'll see what black missed. Check. He goes up here. That's the destroyer right there. And I missed it. And it was because of the thing I told you about the time control. When you make the time control, get up and walk away from the board. I made time control right here. So I got up, walked away from the board, took a few minutes to realize what the new time I had, and then started looking at my stuff again. I didn't. Because he can't play here because of mate. Once the queen plays back, then you just play queen takes queen, it's over. So he had to give me the knight forced. And when I take the knight, you just can't you just can't survive that. There's just no way to survive it. That's what you call a devastating kill right there. I wished I'd actually taken and played it, because after G takes at F4, which is forced, queen here, king to D4. I don't see how they get out of that. I don't know if you see how they get out of that. But rook to D1, bishop to F3, knight to F6, and we're threatening the E pawn. So rook takes a B7, queen takes a D4. Nah. This stuff will definitely make you chuckle at least a little bit. And then king to C5, king to D5, and no matter where the king goes, he's going to wind up getting checked. So it's king to B4, C5, queen takes a C5, queen takes a B7. Toast. Even if he tries to come here, all you do is just bring the bishop back here, and you're good. So now the bishop's back in the game, the whole 9 yards. What was really funny is the type of depression that sets in after you realize that you've made several mistakes in a row. Because aren't all of us looking back during the game and thinking about some of the moves that we made and going, how could I have made that move? Well, you know, that's normal to go back and be sitting there having a bad brain moment and fussing at yourself about all the mistakes that you made during the course of the game. But you got to shake it off, and you got to try to stay optimistic. And if you can shake it off and stay optimistic, you may actually find some stuff. So again, he went here. We come over with the check. Goes up here. We came over with this check. He goes here. We play queen takes. Rook takes queen. So that's just plain normal. You know, we're gonna knock it out. The king's got to take in. The king's got to kind of take it back, but you know, again, if they try the other stuff, it's just not going to work. So now we're coming back into the game. King takes, knight up here, rook to B7. Then we got a knight to E4, king up here, pawn up here, knight down, king down, knight to D2, king to C3, knight takes here. And he makes his last mistake. I don't know if you see it, but if you take a look at this, again, one of the problems that we saw in the other variations was black's difficulty in getting back to the back rank to stop the pawn from queening. So here, in what must have been a state of depression, he misses his opportunity to put the queen back on the board, because that's the only way to answer that. And then we go here. There's no way to stop the queen. So he had an opportunity to get a queen back on the board, and he missed it. It doesn't matter where I go to try to stop that, or if I bring my queen over here, it doesn't matter what I do. The next move is going to be check, king takes rook, and the queen will reappear back on the board. And of course, I'll get to move my knight around somewhere to get out of this stuff, but it's going to be, he's just down a piece again. So today's example hopefully was the type of complications that you're looking for, and We're going to take and make sure that you get some more complications the next time you come hang out with us. And we're going to talk about the next part of the rule. Remember, it's every check and every capture every time, regardless of what you think, whether they can take you or not, whether it makes sense or not, to see where everybody can and cannot go. See you next time. Thank you.